Hey artists, today we're going to be doing a watercolor style winter landscape. So follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to create your own winter landscape. The first thing we want to do is just draw the horizon line. The next thing you want to do is draw yourself some mountains. So you'll have that pointed part coming up. All right, and the next thing you want to do is get out your markers, and you can choose if you want to use warm colors, cool colors, or a combination. I think I will use a combination. And we are not going to push real hard. We're just going to kind of put some of this marker line kind of wisping out between. And then we can get some purple, so we can kind of mix them up, just adding in the color. It's okay to leave like some white space. That'll give it that watercolor effect. Just making sure I don't get it on the white part of my mountains. Then you can add in some blues, whatever colors you'd like. So now we're going to take either a paintbrush, or you can use a Q-tip. You can even just take a piece of paper towel and kind of wrap it up into a little thing that you can use to wet your paper. It's really whatever you have. You don't want to use too much water, but we're going to blend this marker together in the background and give it that kind of a watercolor look. So it looks cool where you left the space in between, because then it just kind of blends it together. And I like to start, whoops, trying not to get it on the white. I like to start down here at the bottom with my kind of lighter colors and then move up. So again, I'm not soaking the paper, I'm just getting it a little bit wet and giving it that watercolor paint look. It's really starting to look cool as we blend these colors together in our Arctic sky here. Oh yeah, the blues are really looking nice. And like I said, you could use warm colors to do like a sunset. Totally your choice. All right, once your sky is complete, the next thing you're going to do is start working on your mountains. Now you can use your black marker or you can use a black pen, totally your choice. And what we're going to do is we're going to outline the marker. We're going to outline the land, and then you can add in trees. You could put a little snowman. Totally going to be up to you how you want to decorate it. I'm using just kind of a thinner black pen marker thing. I'm just going to go up around. I want to be careful because this paper is a little bit wet where I was drawing, and I don't want to rip my paper. Now we're imagining that this is pretty snowy, so we're going to leave it mostly white. And so what we're going to do is just make some short lines on the left part of our mountains that are going to give it that shadow look, that there's a shadow on the side. So we're just going to kind of take our pen. You could be using a pen, you can be using a marker, and we're just going to put those little lines. If you want, you can kind of put an outline of where that shadow is going to be, or you could just do the lines straight up. So I know I'm going to put a little shadow on this edge. Just short straight lines coming out, giving it that shadowed look. And you can see it's really starting to make them look 3D, having these shadows coming down. All right, and now it's just really getting that 3D look. We've got these short straight lines that give it the shadow through the edge, and then we have the snow on the mountains, and we have this watercolor sky that we did with markers, which looks awesome. Now once you get down here, you have lots of choices. Like I said, you could have people, you could have animals like a deer. You just have to think about the sizing. Things that are up close can be a little bigger. Things back here are going to be very tiny compared to these huge mountains. So if you do like a little tree back here, and you could just do some pine trees that have that kind of triangle shape where they just go out, just short little lines. So you could have trees that are tiny back here. Back here they'd be really tiny. So you can just put some little trees all over the place, just thinking about things that are in the background really far away, things that are in the middle that are going to be middle-sized, and then things up front are going to be a lot bigger. And then other things you could do, you could put some plants coming up from the front. You could have some bigger trees. So you could have a really big tree down here. Because it's closer to the bottom of the page. We know it's closer to our perspective. So it's going to be a lot bigger. If you're using a thinner pen like this, it takes a little bit more time than if you were using a thicker marker. So it's not a ton of little tiny details, but it has an amazing look. with our 3D mountains in the back, our little trees we're putting in here, our snowy hills. You could add some other hills if you wanted, and then just give it some little shadows again, just using your black. There's the shadows in the snow. I had seen some other artists that did things like added some plants that are way up front, kind of over here. So it looks like there's some tall grasses, some like winter grasses coming up. So that's another thing you could do. Just having those kind of popping up. You know, when the grasses kind of dry out and maybe have some dry leaves just in the cold. So you could have some of those up front if you wanted. You could put like a little deer back here if you wanted. Actually, this is turning out to look more like a bear. Any kind of little animal you might want to add in the background, you can. I'll make him fatter and make him really look like a bear. So yeah, just adding those little shadow details would really be your last step. And then if you want to jazz it up just a little more, you have to wait till this part is dry. And if it's feeling dry enough, you could add some snow or stars using your white crayon. This is not a Crayola crayon, and it's not as good. Let me find a better white crayon. Here we go. There. And so if you wanted to, you could try to add just a little bit of stars or snow with your white crayon as another finishing touch. And then your winter landscape will be complete. And I just think these look so cool. When you don't have paint available, using markers as paint can be really neat. You don't ever want to get the tip of your marker into water because then it'll ruin your marker, but putting the marker on the paper first and then adding that water on top gives it a really cool look. I like how these little stars are looking on the sky. And then your picture is complete. I cannot wait to see what you create.